We all have times in life where we're at a disadvantage. We don't see how we can accomplish our dream, or the medical report is not good, child is off course. We've done all we can in our own power, but nothing has changed. Doors haven't opened. We're still dealing with the anxiety, and it's tempting to get discouraged and settle where we are. But there is a supernatural flow that you can tap into, a flow of healing that will turn the medical report around, a flow of favor that will open doors and bring the right people, a flow of freedom that will break the addiction. This flow is within reach, but here's the key. It has to be activated. How do you activate it? By expecting God's favor, by declaring His promises, by believing He's working when you don't see any sign of it. You have to press past the doubt. Press past the thoughts telling you it's never going to change. It's been this way too long. This problem is too big. Don't believe those lies. God is on the throne. He's fighting your battles. There's not a problem you're facing that He can't turn around. Not a dream He can't bring to pass. Not an addiction He can't break. When you activate this flow, angels go to work. Forces of darkness are broken. Favor is released. But sometimes we're waiting on God, but God's waiting on us. He's saying, come on, activate my power, activate my favor, activate my healing. God works where there's faith. He sees our needs, but He's not moved by needs. Otherwise, there would be no needs. He's moved by our faith. What activates the flow is when we believe that God can do what seems impossible. When we go around not talking about how big the problem is, but about how big our God is. When we declare, God is going before me, making crooked places straight. He's opening doors that no person can shut, bringing the right people across my path. That's not just being positive. You just activated a flow of favor. You're going to see God do unusual, uncommon things that you can't explain. Maybe you're dealing with an illness. It's easy to accept it. Think, man, this is my lot in life. No, the right attitude is this sickness didn't come to stay, it came to pass. God is restoring health back into me. I will live and not die. You just activated a flow of healing where God can supernaturally turn things around. He's not limited to what medical science can do. He may use medicine, He may use doctors, but sometimes they run out of options. There's nothing more in the natural they can do, but our God is supernatural. He never runs out of options. When you believe, you activate a flow of healing that can do what medicine cannot do. Or maybe a child is off course. Instead of worrying, not able to sleep, no, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. My children are mighty in the land. What God started, He's going to finish. You just activated a flow of freedom, a flow of protection, a flow of purpose. That's when you'll see God do things that only He can do. In Mark chapter 5, there was a woman that had a bleeding disorder for 12 years. She'd gone to many different doctors, no success. She didn't stop there. She found the leading experts, had the best of that day look at her. But they all had the same report. We're sorry. There's nothing more we can do. This illness is not treatable. She had spent all of her funds trying to get well. You can imagine how discouraged she was, not only facing this incurable disease, weak, losing weight, but she didn't have any money to live on. One day she heard all this commotion in town. People were so excited. She found out that Jesus was passing through. She had heard stories of how He had healed sick people, how He calmed the sea and opened blind eyes. Something came alive on the inside. This faith rose up, this expectancy that said, if I can get to Jesus, I know I will be healed. Didn't make sense to her mind. Every thought said, what are you talking about? You've heard all the reports. This sickness is not treatable. You can't get well. There was a battle taking place in her thinking. Never going to happen, too late, impossible. But in her spirit, she heard, this is your time. Healing is coming. Rise up in faith. She decided to go see Jesus. The problem was there were throngs of people crowded around Him. They were packed in, everyone trying to get close. This woman had a made-up mind. I can see her pushing through the crowd. Excuse me, I need to get by. I don't mean to be rude, but move out of my way. Pardon me, I need to get up front. She had this boldness, this tenacity that she wasn't going to be talked out of it. Here she's weak from the loss of blood. She's frail, small, at a disadvantage, but she's on a mission. The scripture says she kept saying to herself, when I get to Jesus, I will be healed. She didn't say it one time, she kept declaring it under her breath, pushing through the crowd, I will be healed. I'm close to my breakthrough. Things are about to change in my favor. Thoughts were telling her, you're wasting your time. She answered back, no thanks, I will be healed. You've been this way too long, I will be healed. You heard the experts, I will be healed. Never get through the crowd, too many people, I will be healed. What am I saying? You have to talk back to yourself. Sometimes your own thoughts will try to talk you out of God's best. Don't get in agreement with the defeat, the lack, the sickness, the trouble. Do like this lady. Keep saying to yourself, healing is coming. Freedom is coming. The right person is coming. Abundance is coming. Victory is coming. This woman kept pressing through the crowd, and finally she made it to Jesus. She was so exhausted and so out of breath, she fell down. Just as Jesus passed by, at the last second, she reached out and touched the edge of his robe. Instantly, she felt healing flow into her body. Strength came, the bleeding stopped. After 12 years, she felt like a different person. She was excited, but that excitement quickly turned to fear. Jesus suddenly stopped, said to his disciples, who just touched me? They were puzzled. Said, what do you mean, Jesus? Everybody's touching you. It's crowded out here. Jesus said, no, someone touched me with such faith, with such expectancy that they drew the miracle working power out of me. He was saying someone activated the flow. Someone believed healing was coming. Someone believed their child was going to turn around. Someone believed new doors were about to open. They drew favor out of me. They drew healing, freedom, restoration. They activated my supernatural power. About that time, Jesus looked at this woman. Their eyes met. Her heart was beating so fast, she thought she was in trouble. She interrupted Jesus. Maybe he would be upset. Maybe he would embarrass her. But Jesus smiled and said, daughter, your faith has made you whole. Go in peace. You are healed. He was saying, way to go, girl. Your faith did this. See, there were many miracles where Jesus initiated the healing. He initiated multiplying the food. He initiated bringing the widow's son back to life. He initiated healing Peter's mother-in-law. But this case shows us how you can initiate the miracle. He said to the woman, you activated this flow of healing. I saw you push through the crowd. I heard you declaring healing is coming. I saw you fighting off the discouragement, not letting naysayers talk you out of it, expecting, believing, stretching. That's what activates the flow. But there were many sick people in the crowd that day, many people that needed healing, restoration, breakthroughs. They bumped up against Jesus. At times they made contact, but nothing happened. What was different about this lady? She touched him with expectancy, believing that healing was coming, knowing that things were about to change, declaring that favor was on the way. We're all in the crowd, so to speak. Jesus is passing by. The question is, are you brushing up against him or are you touching him? Are you activating the flow, believing for your dreams, expecting your healing, declaring God's favor? Or are you focused on how impossible it looks, and how the odds are against you, what people have said, letting your own thoughts discourage you? No, be like this lady. Start activating that flow. Instead of talking about how you'll never get out of debt, business is so slow, I will lend and not borrow. What I touch prospers and succeeds. I'm expecting a bountiful, abundant, flourishing year. That's when God will stop and say, who touched me? Who activated that flow of favor, that flow of abundance? Your faith can activate the flow. Like this woman, you may have gone through disappointments. You're tired. You could sit back and look at what didn't work out, who hurt you, how unfair it's been. Or you can say, Father, thank you that you have beauty for these ashes. Thank you, Lord, that what was meant for harm, that you're turning to my advantage. You said you'd pay me back double for the unfair things that have happened. That's what causes God to stop in His tracks and ask, who touched me? It was your faith. You activated restoration. You activated new beginnings, new relationships. I wonder if there's some flows you're missing out on because you're not activating them. You're brushing up against Jesus, so to speak, but you're not touching Him. You have to stretch your faith. Believe for what you're dreaming about. Declare His promises in spite of what's not changing. Like she did, keep saying to yourself, I know my healing is coming. I know my children will fulfill their destiny. I know my business will succeed. I know I will break this addiction. I know freedom is on the way. This lady had to press through the crowd. She was tired, weak, and frail. She could have stayed at home. She had to press through doubts in her mind, all the thoughts whispering that she'd never get well. She had to press through the naysayers, the experts telling her that it wouldn't happen, all the facts saying it was impossible. She had to press through disappointments, 12 years of trying and nothing getting better. She had plenty of reasons to settle where she was, but she kept declaring, healing is coming. When I touch Him, I will be whole. She had this unwavering faith, knowing that God is faithful. What He promised was on the way. If you're going to activate the flow, if you're going to see God's favor, you have to press past the doubt. Those thoughts that tell you, you'll never get well, never meet the right person, never see your family restored. It would have happened by now. Don't believe those lies. The enemy wouldn't be telling you that if he didn't know it was on the way. He doesn't mind you being in the crowd as long as you're not believing, not expecting, not stretching your faith. He knows if you activate that flow, miracles are going to happen. Favor is released. Impossible situations will turn around. You have to press past the naysayers. There will always be people that try to discourage you, tell you what you can't become, how you're not going to get well. My grandmother died from that same disease. Good luck. People told us we would never get the Compact Center, never get this place, that the city would never let a church have it, but here we are today. People told me that I couldn't minister. I didn't have the training, the experience. 24 years later, I'm still here. Press past the negative chatter. You'll never get in that college, never start your business, never write your book, never see your family restored. Tune all that out. People don't determine your destiny. They don't know what God put in you. They're looking at it all in the natural. They don't realize when you activate the flow, there's a supernatural power. God will step in and open doors that no person can shut. Give you good breaks that catapult you ahead. Bring healing when the medical report says no way. He'll promote you when you don't have the credentials, when you're not the next in line. What happened? You tapped into a supernatural flow.